Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. Coming up in the next hour. US President-elect Donald Trump speaks to Russian President Putin, advises against escalation in Ukraine. Japan's parliament convenes special session of the National Assembly. Ishiba's re-election as PM eyed. Justice Sanjiv Khanna to take oath as the 51st Chief Justice of India to succeed Justice D.Y. Chandrachud, who retired on a Sunday. The 29th annual UN climate negotiations COP29 to begin in Azerbaijan's capital Baku. Climate finance top on agenda. In sports, South Africa beat India in second T20 International in Kebarha to level series 1-1. It seems Donald Trump has already started working towards one of his boldest campaign claims, that he could end the Russia-Ukraine conflict within 24 hours of assuming office. The US President-elect spoke with Russian President Vladimir Putin and advised him not to escalate the Ukraine conflict. Sources say Trump held the call from his Mar-a-Lago estate in Florida on Thursday, just days after his stunning election victory over Democratic rival Kamala Harris. Trump also spoke with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky on Wednesday, with Elon Musk also notably joining them on the call. Zelensky described the call as excellent, saying that he and Trump had agreed to maintain close dialogue and advance cooperation. Trump has been a strong critic of scale of US military and financial support for Kiev, vowing to end the conflict quickly without saying how. Meanwhile, the outgoing US President Joe Biden has invited Donald Trump to come to the Oval Office on Wednesday. According to the US National Security Advisor, Biden's top message will be his commitment to ensure a peaceful transfer of power, and he will also talk to Trump about what's happening in Europe, in Asia and Middle East. In all, Biden will go through the top priorities for US domestic and foreign policy. The outgoing Democratic administration of President Joe Biden has confirmed that it will send as much aid as possible to Ukraine before Trump's inauguration on January 20th. Meanwhile, President Volodymyr Zelensky has stressed that strength and diplomacy must work together to bring the Russia-Ukraine conflict to an end and to ensure that such conflict does not happen again in the future. In his nightly video address, Zelensky said, and I quote, "We understand very clearly that diplomacy has no prospects without strength. But without a clear understanding of diplomatic goals, weapons alone will not do the job. That's why strength and diplomacy must work hand in hand." He added that this is the only way to secure a lasting peace and to prevent from conflicts such as the one Moscow has been waging against Kiev from recurring. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer will meet French President Emmanuel Macron on Monday to strengthen support for Ukraine and amid worries about a possible shift in US policy following Donald Trump's re-election. Starmer's visit, which will include attending Armistice Day ceremonies, the first by a British leader since Winston Churchill in 1944, aims to reinforce European unity in supporting Ukraine's war against Russia. Trump's criticism of US aid to Ukraine has heightened concerns over potential reduced support. In France, Starmer will also hold talks with new French Prime Minister Barnier. Both Britain and France remain committed to backing Ukraine to ensure European security and will also discuss the severe humanitarian crisis unfolding in Gaza, according to Downing Street. Shifting focus to Trump's call with German Chancellor Olaf Scholz, who exchanged views on bilateral relations and geopolitical challenges. Berlin, in a statement, said both exchanged views on the German-American relationship and the current geopolitical challenges. The Chancellor underlined the government's willingness to continue the decades-long successful cooperation between the governments of both countries. They also agreed to work together towards a return to peace in Europe. All right, let's go live across to President's House. Justice Sanjiv Khanna will take oath as the 51st Chief Justice of India. President of India Draupadi Murmu will administer oath of office to Justice Khanna.
माननीय राष्ट्रपति महोदया, आपकी अनुमति हो तो समारोह का शुभारंभ किया जाए। भारत के मुख्य न्यायमूर्ति श्री संजीव खन्ना,
I, Sanjiv Khanna,
having been appointed Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of India,
having been appointed Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of India,
do swear in the name of God
do swear in the name of God
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of India as by law established,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of India as by law established,
that I will uphold the sovereignty and integrity of India,
that I will uphold the sovereignty and integrity of India,
that I will duly and faithfully and to the best of my ability, knowledge and judgment,
that I will duly and faithfully and to the best of my ability, knowledge and judgment,
perform the duties of my office without fear or favor, affection or ill will,
perform the duties of my office without fear or favor, affection or ill will,
and that I will uphold the Constitution and the laws.
and that I will uphold the Constitution and the laws.
माननीय राष्ट्रपति महोदया, आपकी अनुमति हो तो समारोह का समापन किया जाए।
Justice Sanjiv Khanna took oath as the 51st Chief Justice of India at Rashtrapati Bhavan in New Delhi. The oath of office was administered by President of India, Draupadi Murmu. Justice Sanjiv Khanna will hold the post of Chief Justice of India till 13th of May 2025. Justice Khanna has written judgments in about 117 cases in the Supreme Court so far and has been a part of many Supreme Court benches that gave verdicts in important cases. In 2019, Justice Khanna was part of a 5-judge constitutional bench that said that in many cases, the office of the CJI also comes under the purview of the right to information. He was also part of the 5-judge constitution bench, which in its 2023 verdict declared the removal of Article 370 from Jammu and Kashmir as constitutional. A 7-judge bench, including Justice Khanna, delivered judgment on arbitration agreements and stamp duty. The Constitution Bench, which also included Justice Khanna, held that under Article 142 of the Constitution, the Supreme Court could dissolve marriages based on the irretrievable breakdown of marriage. In 2024, agreeing with the majority opinion, Justice Sanjiv Khanna also declared the electoral bond scheme unconstitutional. In 2024, the bench headed by Justice Khanna rejected the demand for 100% VVPAT verification and called the current EVM system transparent and reliable. In November 2024, he was part of the 7-judge constitution bench, which overturned the Aziz Basha decision given in 1967 regarding the definition of a minority institution. Division bench of Justices Sanjiv Khanna and SVN Bhatti refused to grant bail to AAP leader Manish Sisodia in a case under the Prevention of Corruption Act 1988 and the Penal Code 1860, along with the charges under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act 2002. Division bench of Justices Sanjiv Khanna ruled that telecom companies are exempt from tax deduction of 5%. Moving on, Donald Trump will become the first president of the United States to take office, while several criminal cases against him are pending in various courts of the country. So does his ascent to the highest office in the US relieve him of his legal troubles? Or will the dozens of criminal and civil charges against him continue? DD India's Amritpal Singh explores.
One question that's hotly being debated here, both in political circles and the media, is what happens to the legal cases against Donald Trump. Now that he's won the election, will it mean that criminal cases against him would disappear? Trump has been battling 4 simultaneous prosecutions, 2 related to his efforts to overturn the 2020 election result in Georgia, 1 on his mishandling of secret documents, and 1 on his hush money payments to adult film star Stormy Daniels. If media reports are to be believed, federal officials are already exploring options on how to wind down the federal cases under the assumption that sitting US presidents cannot be prosecuted or jailed while in office. This assumption flows from a long-standing US Department of Justice policy, which has been reaffirmed by US Supreme Court rulings that maintain that sitting presidents cannot be tried or jailed while in office. Legal experts, however, say much would still depend on the judge.
Generally, there is no immunity for civil cases where the acts, especially when the acts are outside of the official duties of the president. Here in the civil case against Donald Trump, those definitely are acts that are related to his personal business affairs. So I don't see any immunity being given in those circumstances. Now, the federal and state criminal cases, that's more of a gray area and will be left to the interpretation or ruling of the individual courts that are hearing those cases.
Who Trump appoints as his Attorney General is being keenly watched here in the US because his AG could be instrumental in stalling the cases, if not dropping them altogether. While the Trump-appointed Attorney General could drop the federal cases against him, but the cases in New York and Georgia will have to wait until the end of his term. With cameraman Sanjay Khanna, this is Amrit Pal Singh for DD India in Florida.
Updates on West Asia conflict now. Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz said that Israel has defeated Hezbollah and that eliminating its leader Hassan Nasrallah was the crowning achievement. He said this during the handover ceremony at Israel's foreign ministry, which took place after Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu fired Yoav Gallant and replaced him with former foreign minister and his close ally Katz to lead the country's war in Gaza and Lebanon.
We defeated Hezbollah and the elimination of Nasrallah was a crowning achievement. Now it is our job to continue the pressure, and here we will work together to materialize the fruits of his victory by ensuring that the security situation in Lebanon has changed.
Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Sunday admitted that Israel was behind the attacks on Hezbollah's pager and walkie-talkie. Netanyahu confirmed Sunday that he green-lighted the pager operation in Lebanon. Israeli spokesperson Omar Dostri told AFP of the attacks. The attacks carried out on September 17 and 18 targeted thousands of pagers and thousands of walkie-talkie used by Hezbollah members across Lebanon and Syria. The operation was conducted despite the opposition from some senior Israeli officers, leading to the dismissal of Yoav Gallant. Netanyahu's first public admission about the pager attacks comes days after Beirut lodged a complaint against Tel Aviv at the United Nations over the pager attacks. All right, and DD India's Amit Mukherjee joins us with latest. Hi Amit, a very good morning to you. This is a big revelation. In fact, Netanyahu admitting that he had given a go-ahead to pager operation in Lebanon. Somehow it was speculated, Amit, but now it's confirmed. How do you analyze this?
Well, Siddharth, at this point in time, one needs to understand that there is a growing, discontentment, and there's a lot of opposition from the Israelis. Particularly alleging that Netanyahu has not been able to effectively handle the hostage crisis. Those hostages which were abducted and are still in the captivity of Hamas since October 7th, 2023, they have still not been released. So if you look at what has been happening for the past few days, there is a lot of resentments, there's a lot of, demonstrations on the streets in Israel where, the present dispensation is being alleged with a lot of ineffective handling of the situation, which is why Benjamin Netanyahu at this point of time really needs to assert himself. He is trying to kind of, project himself that he has been very, very proactive, and he has been on top of everything as far as this conflict is concerned, which is why we saw this kind of, announcement where he has claimed responsibility, and actually he said he actually ordered the pager attacks. Not only the pager attacks, also if you if you recall on October 17th, there was this also an attack, where the walkie-talkies which were being used by the Hezbollah operators, they were detonated. So it was a very, very sort of a targeted operation. And Benjamin Netanyahu at this point in time, he has to assert himself by saying, by talking about all the proactive measures he had taken, whether it's like detonating the pagers or the walkie-talkies, or kind of executing the elimination of Nasrallah, the Hezbollah chief, and also the if you look at Ismail Haniyeh, who was before Yahya the Hamas leader who was eliminated in Iran. That was again a very sort of a technological attack which was mounted by Israel, and it's still unclear as to how Ismail was actually taken off. So, I mean, now Israel is going all out. Benjamin Netanyahu is going all out in asserting his role in the entire, West Asia conflict, whereby he has been saying that he has been working in the interest of Israel and its people. Siddharth?
Amit, given the present situation in West Asia, you've just also mentioned about it, especially between Israel and Lebanon, which is not dialing down. Can there be another such technology-influenced attack expected?
Well, it is a speculation, Siddharth, but absolutely at this point of time, Israel is very, very well prepared. And considering the fact that, which you rightly pointed out, nothing is dialing down, Hezbollah is constantly, firing the barrage of rockets into Israeli territories. Also, Hamas is, has not been, readily accepting the ceasefire agreement and coming to a deal whereby they need to release the hostages which they had abducted. So, I mean, Israel is all prepared because it's still not, I mean, even though Israel is claiming victory over Hezbollah, they are saying that majority of the Hamas operatives have been eliminated. But the fact still remains that the hostages who were abducted from Israel on 7th of October 2023, they are still not there, which is why they have not been returned. And there is no sign of them returning as of now, which is why we have been seeing these protests on the streets of Israel. And considering all these facts, definitely Israel is prepared to go all out, and it would not be, we cannot rule out anything, any new technological assault by Israel in these territories where, Hezbollah or Hamas or Houthis are operating. Siddharth?
All right, it seems like the tensions in West Asia is not dying down anytime soon, and with Benjamin Netanyahu also admitting that he gave a go-ahead for walkie-talkie and pager attacks in Lebanon. But we leave with that. Thank you so much, Amit. And still to come on DT Indian News Hour. Haiti's Transitional President Council will appoint a new Prime Minister. Stay tuned to know the entire story. 10 killed and 7 injured after gunmen opened fire at a bar in Mexico. Ever seen an elephant using a horse to shower? Yes, that's indeed something to watch out for.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. Japan's parliament convenes a special session to select the new prime minister. Voting is underway to elect the new prime minister of the island nation. PM Ishiba, who called the snap poll after coming into office on October 1st, is expected to prevail as his Liberal Democratic Party and coalition partner Komeito won the biggest block of seats in the election, while losing the majority held since 2012. If he prevails, Ishiba is expected to decide the lineup of his new cabinet soon afterwards. Earlier, Ishiba and all of his cabinet members resigned in a formality to pave the way for their reappointments on Monday morning. After re-election, Ishiba will immediately announce his second cabinet to replace 3 ministers who lost their seats or were affected by the election results. And DD India's Akshay Dongre joins us with more. Hi Akshay, very good morning. Akshay, what are the odds Shigeru Ishiba will remain country's leader?
Well, Siddharth, from looking at the kind of results that have come out of the lower house of parliament in Japan, clearly one thing has been showcased, that while the LDP has gotten the majority number of seats, when in terms of the maximum number of seats, rather 191 out of 465, it still is falling short despite the support from the coalition Komeito, which also does not have enough votes to make it to the halfway mark. They have about 24 seats, which will not take the tally of LDP and Komeito across the halfway mark. So that is going to be a challenge for Shigeru Ishiba as far as the legitimacy, or rather his rule is concerned in the country, as far as his premiership is there. So the situation is quite complicated. In fact, this entire political chaos has resulted in the yen dipping to a 3-month low. Political uncertainty remains, and while there is no certainty that the LDP along with its coalition partners is going to have a majority. They will definitely require support of some other parties when it comes to crossing the halfway mark, without which this is going to be in a way a hung parliament situation, and the fate of Shigeru Ishiba as the Prime Minister of Japan will remain uncertain.
Okay, Akshay, you just mentioned us about the hung parliament situation. Could you explain, if no candidate wins a majority, what would happen and what challenge would it pose for the country and its functioning?
Well, political uncertainty is one, Siddharth. Clearly, if the ruling party does not have majority of seats in the lower house of parliament, which is happening after a very long time. In fact, that is going to be a major setback for the political ecosystem of Japan. In fact, there were earlier speculation being made that if Shigeru Ishiba doesn't obtain the halfway mark, he may resign, and that would have rather made him the shortest serving prime minister of the country ever since World War II. So that was being speculated. However, now we have clarity that Shigeru Ishiba has clearly stated that he will not allow a political vacuum in the country, and which shows that there will be a hung parliament, there will be political uncertainty. Yes, the government will be formed, but how strong will this government be? That is the big question.
Definitely, we'll have to wait and see what happens in this particular situation, but right now we leave it there. Thank you so much, Akshay. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz said on Sunday that he would be willing to call a vote of confidence in Parliament before Christmas, a move that would pave the way for snap elections. Scholz, whose coalition collapsed on last Wednesday, said if all sides agree, he is ready to call a vote of confidence before Christmas. Scholz had suggested holding a vote of confidence in his government on January 15 with a snap election in March, but the conservative opposition led by Friedrich Merz wants an election in January. A confidence vote is a necessary precursor to an election. Mauritius held a parliamentary election on Sunday focused on economic and political stability. According to the country's electoral body, results are expected on Monday. Prime Minister Pravind Kumar Jagnaut's alliance, LEPEP coalition, has promised to raise minimum wages, increase pensions and reduce value-added tax on some basic goods. The opposition has also pledged to increase pensions as well as introduce free transport and internet services and reduce fuel prices. The election involved selecting lawmakers for the 62 seats in parliament from a list of 68 parties and 5 political alliances. The party or coalition that secures over half the seats also wins the Prime Minister's post. Earlier this month, Jagnaut's government blocked social media platforms citing national security concerns, but lifted the ban a day later after opposition parties criticized the move. Haiti's Transitional Presidential Council will appoint a new Prime Minister, replacing Gary Conille, who was named Prime Minister in May. According to draft resolution, the Council will name Alex Didier Fissem as Haiti's new Prime Minister. The 9-member council agreed by consensus on November 8 as the political crisis threatens further turmoil in Haiti. The council's decision seeks to push out Conille after just 5 months in office and replace him with businessman Alex Didier. Conille has sent a letter to the Transitional Council asking for decision not to be officially published. He also sent a letter this week seeking the resignation of 3 of its members accused of corruption. The two sides have been locked in past struggle for weeks, with council wanting to change the ministers of justice, finance, defense and health against the Prime Minister's wishes. The country has not held elections since 2016, widening a political vacuum that has worsened existing security and health crisis. Baku Stadium, located in the heart of Azerbaijan capital, hosts COP29 UN Climate Summit from today. 12-day summit takes place at a time when extreme weather aggravated by climate change, including floods in Bangladesh and drought in Brazil, is wreaking havoc. In such a situation, how much money, in fact, richer countries agreed to send to developing countries to help them cope is expected to be central to the talks in Baku. In addition to the finance, 171 countries need guidance on how to use it. Also in focus would be transitioning away from fossil fuels and keep the world on track to 1.5 degrees of warming. The COP29 overlaps the G20 summit in Brazil, where climate issues are going to be discussed as well. Meanwhile, atmospheric carbon dioxide levels have reached record levels this year as fossil fuel emissions warms the planet. The burning of coal, oil and gas across the world is the main driver of climate change. The planet has already warmed about 1.3 degrees Celsius above the pre-industrial average, and the last decade has been the hottest since records began. European Union scientists are also virtually certain that the previous decade is the hottest of the last 125,000 years. Earlier, the World Meteorological Organization said that greenhouse gases have been accumulating in the atmosphere faster than any time experienced during human existence over the last 2 decades. Climate scientists say that for the world to meet the 2015 Paris target of limiting global warming to 1.5 Celsius, no further expansion of fossil fuel infrastructure should occur. World leaders will also deliberate on the issues of climate change due during the COP29 that is slated to kick off from Monday in Baku, Azerbaijan. 2 powerful earthquakes struck southern Cuba on Sunday following a week of devastation from Hurricane Rafael. The first tremor with a magnitude of 5.9 was quickly followed by a stronger quake of 6.8. Residents already shaken by the hurricane rushed into the streets as homes and buildings violently shook, causing landslides and damage to power lines. Cuban President Miguel Diaz-Canel confirmed the destruction, noting the focus was on saving lives. The quakes hit just days after Hurricane Rafael, a Category 3 storm, battered the island, knocking out power and causing widespread disruption. This marks the latest crisis for Cuba, which has already endured multiple hurricanes, blackouts and rare protests over the handling of recent disasters. No tsunami warning was issued. Thousands of villages were ordered to evacuate and ports shut down as the disaster-weary Philippines was struck by another typhoon, the 4th in less than a month. There were no immediate reports of casualties or damage as Typhoon Toraji hit the nation's northeast coast near De La Salle town. Toraji, packing maximum winds of 130 kilometers an hour, came on the heels of 3 cyclones in less than a month that killed 159 people. Schools and government offices were shut in areas expected to be hit hardest by the latest typhoon. Tropical storm Man-yi, currently east of Guam, may also threaten the Philippines next week. About 20 big storms and typhoons hit the archipelago nation or its surrounding waters each year. Asian elephant named Mary at the Berlin Zoo uses hose to shower herself in quite unique techniques. Researchers say Mary's ability to use the hose to flick water onto her back was exceptionally good, signaling her out from the 5 elephants studied. The research also observed another elephant, Anchali, attempting to disrupt Mary's shower by manipulating the hose, further illustrating the complexity of elephant behavior. And still to come on DD India News Hour. We will give you updates on state assembly elections as today is last day of campaigning for the first phase of assembly polls in East India's Jharkhand. To promote gender equality and sustainability, INSV Tarini in its global circumnavigation expedition arrives in Australia's Fremantle after 39-day voyage. An exhibition on millets in Odisha showcases health benefits, highlighting their role in sustainable diets. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj and a quick recap of headlines. US President-elect Donald Trump speaks to Russian President Putin, advises against escalation in Ukraine. Japan's parliament convenes special session of the National Assembly. Ishiba's re-election as PM eyed. Justice Sanjiv Khanna takes oath as the 51st Chief Justice of India, succeeds Justice D.Y. Chandrachud, who retired on Sunday. The 29th annual UN climate negotiations COP29 to begin in Azerbaijan's capital Baku. Climate finance top on agenda. In sports, South Africa beat India in second T20 international in Keberha to level series 1-1. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi will virtually participate in the 200th anniversary celebrations of Sri Swami Narayan Mandir in Western India's Vattal. PM Modi will also address the gathering on the occasion. Sri Swami Narayan Mandir in Vattal has been influencing the social and spiritual life of people for many decades. Updates on state assembly elections now. Today is the last day of campaigning for the first phase of assembly polls in East India's Jharkhand. 43 assembly constituencies will head to the polls in first phase on Wednesday. High-profile seats in this phase include Saraikela, Ranchi, Jamshedpur West, Jagannathpur and Jamshedpur East. Jharkhand will vote in two phases. The second phase of polling will be held in 38 constituencies on November 20th. The votes for both phases will be counted on November 23rd. India's Union Minister Amit Shah will hold public meeting in Jharkhand's Adityapur, Palkot and Thamar on 11th of November to highlight the government's policies aimed at boosting Indian economy. Polls for Jharkhand Assembly will be held in two phases on the 13th and 20th of November. In a remarkable display of efficiency and sustainability, the Government of India has earned Rs 2,364 crore in just 3 years through the sale of scrap from various government offices. The figure underscores the potential of recycling and properly managing unused materials, leading to both financial benefits and environmental sustainability. Indian Minister Dr. Jitendra Singh recently spoke to DD discussing the significant achievements under various government's initiatives.
स्क्रैप के माध्यम से लगभग 2,364 करोड़ रुपया अर्थात रुपीज 2,364 crore rupee were deposited in the state exchequer by disposing of scrap. यानी ये जो स्क्रैप था, जो हम समझते थे कि जाया हो गया, जिसको हम जंक बना करके फेंक देते थे, जब उसको मार्केट में उसकी वैल्यू ढूंढने की कोशिश की गई तो उसने 2,000 करोड़ रुपए से भी अधिक अभी तक आमदन का साधन बना है। और ये सफल हुआ कि मोदी जी ने कॉन्सेप्ट दिया होल ऑफ गवर्नमेंट, वन गवर्नमेंट, कि सभी जब मिलजुल करके काम करेंगे, जो एक समन्वय के साथ एक सामूहिक प्रयास रहे, कोलैबोरेटिव एफर्ट, तो उसके ये नतीजे रहेंगे। और साथ ही साथ मुझे लगता है इसमें समाज के लिए भी संदेश है।
After 39 challenging days at sea, the Indian naval sailing vessel Tarini arrived at its first port of call in Australia's Fremantle on Saturday, marking a significant milestone in its global circumnavigation expedition Navika Sagar Parikrama 2. The vessel, which departed Goa on October 2nd, covered a distance of 4,900 nautical miles, crossing both the equator and Tropic of Capricorn. During the 38-day non-stop voyage, the crew, led by Lieutenant Commander Dilna K and Lieutenant Commander Rupa A, faced extreme weather conditions, including winds of up to 40 knots and sea states of 6. Despite these challenges, the crew remained in good health and high spirits. The Navika Sagar Parikrama 2 expedition continues to promote gender equality, sustainability and global maritime cooperation. Ninth edition of the Indonesia Joint Special Forces exercise Garud Shakti is underway in Indonesia. The Indian contingent is being represented by troops from the Parachute Regiment Special Forces, and Indonesian contingent is being represented by Indonesian Special Forces Kopassus. The exercise focuses on sharing experiences and best practices in mission planning and operational tactics for special forces operations in jungle terrain. The participating troops have been conducting a series of tactical drills. Kerala has taken a significant step towards seaplane tourism with the successful landing of the state's first seaplane at Kochi International Airport on Sunday afternoon. Kerala State Tourism Minister will flag off seaplane service trials run from Kochi on Monday. The launch of seaplane services is expected to offer fresh tourism opportunities, allowing visitors to enjoy unique aerial views of Kerala's famed backwaters and coastal landscapes. The amphibious aircraft capable of taking off and landing on both land and water can carry up to 9 passengers. And let's take a look at other stories making news. An exhibition on millets in Odisha draws attention to the health and environmental benefits of these ancient grains. The event highlighted millets as a sustainable food source, promoting their role in combating malnutrition and food insecurity. Various millet-based dishes are being showcased, offering visitors a chance to explore the versatility of these grains in cooking. Local farmers and experts are sharing insights on millet cultivation and focusing on sustainable farming techniques and the grain's resilience to climate change. Gujarat hosts annual Tana Riri festival in Mehsana, bringing together celebrated artists in a tribute to the state's rich musical heritage. This two-day event held at the Tana Riri Samadhi Sthal will feature classical and folk performances by renowned artists. The festival, named after the revered sisters Tana and Riri, has deep roots in Gujarat's musical history. This festival began in 2003 as an initiative by Prime Minister Narendra Modi when he was Chief Minister of Gujarat. Fireworks illuminates the night sky of Haridwar, Uttarakhand as part of Ganga Deepotsav. The festival is a breathtaking celebration that transforms the banks of sacred river Ganges into a spectacle of light and devotion. Held annually, this grand event honors the Ganges, revered as a lifeline and goddess in Hindu culture. Devotees gather along Haridwar's ghats, creating a mesmerizing reflection of flickering lights on the water. Ahead of the Kumbh Mela scheduled for January next year in North India's Prayagraj, the National Disaster Response Force conducted special training for sailors on Sunday, providing them with detailed instructions on how to carry out rescue and relief operations in the event of drowning incidents. The training also covered CPR, first aid and proper handling of safety equipment. Sailors were taught how to use various safety tools and perform medical interventions effectively. And still to come on DD Indian News Hour. Air India. Hanoi Festival of Creative Design 2024 kicks off in Vietnam. Artists prepare for the upcoming Bamboo Music Competition at the Chilika International Folk Festival in Odisha.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the Economic Brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Goa, a wild nature paradise, where over a third of the state remains wild today, and every corner is full of surprises. Goa's forests evolved through the seasons. Insects and crocodiles flourish in the monsoon, butterflies in the months after the rains subside, and in the winter, the jungle transforms into a haven for birds.
Oh, there's a female right next to him. Oh my God, is that 8 otters? That's one of my favorite things about these forests. There are still so many secrets out there.
Watch postcards from Goa on National Geographic.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games.
You're watching DD News Hour. I am Siddharth Bharadwaj. And Vistara will operate its final flight under its own brand on Monday as it prepares to fully integrate with Air India. From November 12, Vistara's operations will be unified with Air India, marking a transition into a single consolidated service under Air India banner. The government has approved foreign direct investment by Singapore Airlines in the Air India Vistara merger, streamlining their integration into a single full-service carrier under Air India brand. The Vistara Air India merger has given Singapore Airlines a 25.1% stake in newly unified airline, with operations now fully integrated under Air India. You're watching DD News Hour. Time now for sport. And South Africa beat India by 3 wickets in the second T20 International at St. George's Park in Kebarha on Sunday and levelled the 4-match series 1-1. This was despite Varun Chakravarti picking up 5 wickets, including dismissing crucial scalps like Henrik Klaasen and David Miller. India posted 124 for 6 on the board and gave a below-par target of 125 runs to South Africa. India were in a spot of bother when they lost 6 wickets even before reaching 100 runs. Hardik Pandya's unbeaten 39 made sure that India set a competitive total. During the chase, the hosts were 86 for 7 at one stage but picked up the pace later with Tristan Stubbs and Gerald Coetzee's partnership of 42 runs. Tristan Stubbs was awarded Player of the Match. Australia have named 2 uncapped players among their 13-member group for the opening ICC World Test Championship contest against India in Perth. Untried batter Nathan McSweeney appears to have won the race for the vacant opener berth and is included in the 13-player squad, while white ball star Josh Inglis is surprise inclusion for the contest at Perth Stadium that commences on November 22nd. McSweeney impressed for Australia A during their recent clash against India A and got the backing of former skipper Ricky Ponting. He looks set to open the batting alongside left-hander Usman Khawaja. The India vs Australia 5-match Border Gavaskar Trophy will be crucial for the hopes of both sides, with Australia and India currently occupying the top 2 places on the World Test Championship standings. Although the participation of Indian captain Rohit Sharma still remains unsure as ahead of the clash starting from 22nd of November this month, Indian cricket team's head coach Gautam Gambhir said. When you play for your country, every series is important, irrespective of the past for us. It is 2 good teams playing against each other and we are absolutely keen to go out there, perform and win the series. If Rohit is not available for the first test match, there is KL Rahul. We will take a call closer to the first match. Meanwhile, on Team India's performance in New Zealand series, Gautam Gambhir said, obviously the learning is that we accept that we were outplayed. I'm not going to sit here and defend. I think we were outplayed in all 3 departments. They were more professional and we accept that. I think the criticism we are receiving, we take it with both hands and we keep moving forward and keep getting better every day. Indian team will be hopeful to put their best foot forward in the upcoming series. And now, the 2024 Women's Asian Championship Trophy begins today. The 10-day championship is taking place at the newly developed Rajgir Hockey Stadium in Bihar. India, led by Salima and vice-captain Navneet Kaur, will begin its campaign against Malaysia today. The Indian team has been dominant in recent encounters with Malaysia, having defeated them 5-0 in the Jharkhand Women's Asian Championships Trophy Ranchi 2023, 6-0 in the Asian Games Hangzhou 2022, and 9-0 in the Women's Asia Cup 2022. The tournament will also feature top teams including Paris Olympic silver medalist China as well as Japan, Korea and Thailand. Mark Cavendish won his final professional race at the two-day Tour de France Criterium in Singapore on Sunday, bringing down the curtain on his glittering 19-year career with sprint finish. The 39-year-old Briton clinched his 166th career after crossing the line of 25-lap 2.3 kilometers course in the Singapore Criterium. Cavendish wore the number 35, symbolizing his record for Tour de France stage wins, and he is world's most decorated sprinter, announced his retirement last year before reversing that decision and breaking the all-time record for most stage wins at the Tour de France during his this year's race. News now from the world of entertainment. And pop icon Taylor Swift emerged as the star of the MTV Europe Music Awards on Sunday, claiming 4 top awards in Manchester, England. Swift, who led with 7 nominations, won the Best Artist, Best Video for Fortnite with Post Malone Best Live and Best US Act despite being on her Eras tour in North America. She expressed gratitude to fans via video. South African artist Tyla closely followed, winning 3 awards including Best Afrobeats. Returning after last year's cancellation, the event at Manchester's Co-op Live also honoured Busta Rhymes with the Global Icon Award. Other major winners included Sabrina Carpenter for Best Songs, Peso Pluma for Best Latin and Gallagher for Best Rock.
The fact that you have honored the tour, everything that's happened with the album this year, the video, it's just unbelievable.
The Hanoi Festival of Creative Design 2024 kicked off in Vietnam, marking the start of a 9-day cultural celebration in capital. This year's theme is Creative Intersection. The Hanoi Festival of Creative Design showcases the capital's cultural industry and the creativity of its businesses and citizens. Mexico closed the first World Mariachi Congress on Sunday with a massive concert in Mexico City aiming to honor and preserve the iconic music genre. For the first time, the Mexican capital gathered mariachi enthusiasts and performers for a 5-day event featuring daily concerts and open-air performances. The closing event at Zocalo Square saw hundreds of musicians aiming to break a 2013 world record held by Guadalajara when 700 mariachis performed a concert. Artists prepare for the upcoming bamboo music competition at the Chilika International Folk Festival in Odisha. This unique competition, set against the stunning backdrop of Chilika Lake, celebrates bamboo instruments, a traditional yet versatile element in folk music across many cultures. That's all for this edition of DD India News Hour, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms, and you can scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Sanjiv Khanna from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour.